everybody. It ain't for everybody. Yeah, many you call, but few get chosen. Matthew 22:14. My righteousness gonna exceed that of the Pharisees. Do what they say, not as they do, like bad parenting. Shout out to Job, I strive to be blameless. Can't live in sin and get salvation. I lost a lot, it don't compare to what I'm gaining. If your faith don't match your works, then you're playing. I want the kingdom, y'all wanna be rich and famous. I do the work, study the ants, so I ain't lazy. Black Christians be like, Israelites crazy. Sleepwalking, don't understand, that's who they is. Mental bondage, side effects from enslavement. You still loving your master, that's crazy. Reprobate mind, no way you gon' persuade them. So the chariots ain't gon' swing low to save them. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Salvation. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Salvation. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Salvation. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Salvation. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It's a blessing to understand the scriptures. Without the Holy Spirit, you'll never get the picture. If you don't harmonize your understanding, ain't official. Make sure you learn how to fish before you're fishing. The Bible don't contradict, people contradict it. Don't wanna be obedient, they wanna be misfits. Abuse grace like it's a license for sinning. Yeah, you gon' slip up and sin, but don't practice it. Broad is the way that lead into destruction. I ain't condemning, my criticism is constructive. Just wanna motivate my people to be productive, so they ain't on the wrong end of your hour's judgment. My heart's desire is that we all can be saved, but it can't go that way. Straight and narrow is the way. That's why the scriptures ain't for everybody. The kingdom ain't for everybody. Salvation ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Salvation. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Salvation. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Salvation. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Salvation. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody.
Saving us. There's so much hate inside, like we were made to love. If we can see our problems, ain't no changing us. We need to love each other, but you hate your brother, like we were made to love.
Don't even know him, but when you see him, you got an evil eye. Can't humble down for correction because of your pride. Same story, we done seen it way too many times. We got numb to the pain, we don't even cry. I done seen folks laugh, happy when somebody died. Scared of love full of hate cause they traumatized. The reality something you can't dramatize. We done took so many losses, we demoralized. Instead of hunger for the truth, we want more lies. Ain't no reverence, no respect for the most high. The hate for each other, something that we can't hide. We think it's cool to have sex with a brother wife. We think it's normal and it's natural to be a thigh. We take it for granted that we even alive. What we want and God wants don't even align. See the error in our ways, we ain't even trying. We want followers on our feet, not to follow Messiah. We look up to entertainers, worship idolizers. Don't commit to the covenant, we commit crimes. That's why we stuck in this condition, we don't see the signs. You can't go off how you feel, you gotta use your mind. The most dangerous thing we got, but it's undermined. Can't force change, so I shine this little light of mine and lead an increase of change to the most high.
Ain't no saving us. So much hate inside, like we were made to love. Yeah. We can see our problems, ain't no changing us. We need to love each other, while you hate your brother, like we were made to love.
Man, you know y'all gotta be tired of seeing your brothers getting killed, gunned down in the streets. You gotta be tired of going to prison, seeing your brothers going to prison. Y'all ain't tired of this? You don't want to try to do this another way? The Most High God got another way. You just got to be able to seek and find. And once we seek and find, we execute. Because it's got to be a better way. We got to learn how to love each other. Because all this hate ain't getting us nowhere. Am I the only one that see that this ain't getting us nowhere? We need to learn how to love, man.
Seems like ain't no saving love. No saving love. Inside like we were made. Because we were made to love. Problems ain't no changing love. We need to love each other. Why you hate your brother? Like we were made to love.
Most of your homies in the grave, you ain't tired of it. The other ones incarcerated, you ain't tired of it. You been in and out of jail, but you ain't tired of it. You don't learn from your mistakes because you too proud of it. Can't trust the common narrative because they lying to it. We hold our own self back, don't be blind to it. They keep blaming the white man, look at how we moving. All these self-inflicted wounds got us going through it. The most influential people, but look at what we doing. We push these same stereotypes all through the music. We say we tired, we ain't tired till we start improving. We supposed to separate ourselves, but we want inclusion. We always talk about change, we don't never do it. We always say we love God, we don't really do it. Our hard head came with consequences, we going through it. Till we learn to love each other, we gon' forever lose.
That seems like ain't no saving. Ain't no changing love. Ain't inside like we were made. We were made, no. We see our problems, ain't no change. We need to love each other. Why you hate your brother? Like we were made to love. 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 Like we were made to love.
Treasures.
Yeah.
I feel like that needed a good conversation starter.
I
think the message is beautiful. It's also biblical. The Bible speaks about children of Israel being called by the Most High as a treasured people or a special people. So I definitely think it's a beautiful message.
Ain't no free will, it's all predestinated. From every death to every child brought forth through copulation. From the spouse that you choose to your current occupation, you either receive mercy or your hour's indignation. I can recollect on times that I could have been dead. Caught lacking, no strap, I had a knife instead. Played it cool, he wanted to kill me for how I used to move. Had to match his energy, portray that I was strapped too. But inside I'm praying to God, hoping he don't shoot. Still I'm whooping, telling him I know where he won't. Until Messiah come.
Than you think in the night like a thief.
Gotta do the work until the Messiah come.
Get caught sleeping
Come on.
when the Messiah come.
Gotta do the work until the Messiah come.
Than you think in the night like a thief.
Gotta do the work until the Messiah come.
Get caught sleeping when the Messiah come.
Gotta do the work. Procrastination come from Satan. Not action need to be affirmative. You got options, you got choices. The consequences are permanent. Just you and your well-being can't be all that you concerned with. With the use of having knowledge if nobody else is learning. You, we responsible for breaking the curse. It's on you. Don't be lazy. I put in some work. It's on you. Don't be stubborn. Sis, put the Most High first. You can win them by your conduct. You being observed. It's on you. We the reason we can't exit Babylon while we still getting destroyed. Don't know who we really are. It's on us. We who we waiting on, not the Messiah. Do the work. You want the kingdom, gotta stay on fire. Shalom. Messiah come.
Than you think in the night like a thief.
Gotta do the work until the Messiah come.
Get caught sleeping
Come on.
when the Messiah come.
Gotta do the work until the Messiah come.
Than you think in the night like a thief.
Gotta do the work until the Messiah come.
Get caught sleeping when the Messiah come.
Gotta do the work until the Messiah come. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Salvation ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Salvation ain't for everybody. It ain't for everybody. Yeah, many are called, but few get chosen. Matthew 22:14. My righteousness gonna exceed that of the Pharisees. Do what they. Shalom, shalom. So first, we want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, whose name is Yahweh, and we do so by Shem Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. Shalom, Mark. Shalom, family.
Shalom.
Khan, all praise to the Most High. It's been a blessing to be able to do these lessons. Last week we took a little week off because we were transitioning to our new home, and we're here. And if you hear a little echo in the background noise, y'all disregard it because we still trying to get things situated here. But all praise to the Most High. It's a blessing just to be able to do this lesson. This lesson is a very important lesson. I'm pretty sure everybody that's under the sound of my ears is familiar with the term Proverbs 31 woman. From what I've read and what I've studied, I see that this term or this title, it gets misused, it gets abused loosely. But we're going to dive into Proverbs 31. We're going to examine the fruits of the Proverbs 31 woman. We're going to examine the details of who she's supposed to be and how she's supposed to conduct herself for the edifying of the body, for also the motivation of our sisters, and also for just instructing them properly on how they're to obtain this title. And one thing to remember as we're going through this chapter, that this is a process. It don't happen overnight. You don't just wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to be a Proverbs 31 woman, and you just automatically do it. And also, don't worry, we're going to be going into what men, what we're responsible for as being leaders when it comes to leaders of congregations, leaders of the family. We're going to eventually get into that probably next week. I'm not sure yet, but whenever the Spirit says so, we'll be going into that also. So all praise to the Most High. Ak, you got anything?
Con, all praises to the Most High.
And you kind of got a hum. It's like a hum. Yeah, and if y'all can kind of hear that hum on your end, just put a 1 in the chat. If you can't, that's fine. If you hear the hum, just put a 1 in the chat so we can know if we need to adjust our audio. And if my audio needs to be adjusted, put a 1 in the chat also.
Mic check. You still hear it?
Yes, sir. Just hit mute real quick. Let me see. See if I can hear.
Yeah, I'm on mute now.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It might just be my end. Can y'all? Okay, so y'all can hear that hum. I wonder where that hum is coming from. Let me bag out the stream and come back in and see if that'll help, because I do hear it still.
Con. All praise to the Most High family. Just make sure, just like always, like the video, share the video. If you're on YouTube, make sure to like the video and share. Also subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell. Drops on this channel will occur on Sundays, Tuesdays, of course, the live streams, Wednesdays, Thursdays, again, the live streams, Friday night, as well as, again, the cycle continues, back on Sunday. So make sure you're tapped in on the YouTube. And if you're on Facebook, make sure to like the video / heart the video. Make sure to use the @followers, @highlight. Some people, they got top fans. They have different features that they can utilize on the Facebook app. So make sure you're utilizing those features so that the video can be disseminated and dispensed, to as many people as possible, so that they can be able to view these videos, lessons, and edification. But all praises to the Most High. I believe the brother's back.
Salakia, y'all. I'm pretty sure it speaks now. All praise to the Most High. So yeah, okay. Without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into it. Ak, if you already said anything you needed to say.
Yeah, I got it out the way.
Con, all praise. All right, you can go ahead and get your screen shared, and we're gonna begin in Proverbs 31, verse 10 and 11.
Con.
Yeah, it was on my end, y'all. I'm sorry about that.
You said Proverbs 31, 10 through 11.
Yes, sir.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 31, starting at verse 10. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil.
All praise. So the question that's posed in verse 10 is who can find a virtuous woman? And we see it says for her price is far above rubies. So it's letting us know that it's hard to find this type of woman. So when you do find her, she's very valuable, just like pure rubies. Now, Ak, I want you to grab virtuous in Hebrew.
Con. This is H2428. It's Hayil. And definition is, well, let me get the usage first. It says strength, might, efficiency, wealth, army. And it says strength, ability, efficiency, wealth, force, army. And then definition, it says probably a force, whether of men, means, or other resources. Then it says an army, wealth, virtue, valor, strength, able, activity, army, band of men, as in soldiers, company, great forces, goods, host, might, power, riches, strength, strong, substance, train, valiant or valiantly, valor, virtuous or virtuously, war, worthy or worthily.
So what we see is this virtuous woman, she would be certified as virtuous if she had strength, she had might, efficiency. These things are important when you're dealing with a woman that has to be the woman of the household. Her having strength, might, and efficiency, because it takes a strong sister, it takes a strong woman to deal with having to manage a household, having to raise children, having to be there as a helpmeet to a man, especially a man of the Most High. But I'm about to show y'all something. I go to verse 3. Read verse 3 real quick.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 31 and verse 3. Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings.
Now read the definition for strength in verse 3.
The definition for strength, verse 3, same word, 24:28, Hayil. And again, it says,
Those.
Is that one of them?
Yeah, you can just read that first line.
It says probably a force, whether of men, means, etc.
So this is the same exact word, y'all, and it's being applied to the men of the Most High, and it's also being applied to the women of the Most High. But the key thing we see in verse 3 is, give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. So this type of strength that is talking about the woman, the man shouldn't give to the woman, would be his strength, his might, the things that he's responsible for. We see probably a force, whether of men. So the man is tasked with certain things that he has to do, right? It's not made for a woman to take on those responsibilities as far as being the head of the household, making sure that he's the protector of the home, him being the leader. He makes the spiritual decisions. He makes the spiritual necessary requirements for the family. He's the head. He's the leader. So what it's saying is, hey, man, don't give over your leadership role to your woman. That's not how things are supposed to go. It says in verse 3, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. So it's advising the man, these are the ways that destroy kings when you don't lead properly as a man. So when we go back down to verse 10, the same word, who can find a virtuous woman, is not saying that this woman can't exercise any type of strength. She's going to need that strength. She's going to need that efficiency. She's going to be someone that's prosperous, that there's value in for the head of that household. So there's going to be things that she's going to be in charge of also. He's just not supposed to relinquish his role to the woman. And Ak, if you want to add something, you can.
No points to add in as of yet.
Con. Now give me Genesis 3 and verse 16.
I knew you was going there. That's why I didn't say anything.
Oh, praise.
Gone. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 3 and verse 16. You said 16, correct?
Yes, sir.
Con. Genesis chapter 3, verse 16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee.
Con. So the natural position for the man is to rule over the woman, and the woman is supposed to be responsible for the things she's responsible for, bearing children, having a desire to the husband, submitting to the husband. That's just the natural order of things when things are done properly. So if you could go to 1 Kings 11, verses 1 through 4. And we're going to look at an example of when things aren't done properly, what actually happens. We're going to see what we were warned about in Proverbs 31 and 3.
Come. This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 11, starting at verse 1. But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Sidonians, and Hittites, of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, Ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you. For surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love, and he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. For it came to pass, when Solomon was old, that his wives turned away his heart after other gods, and his heart was not perfect with the Lord his God, as was the heart of David his father.
Con. So verse 4 tells us his heart wasn't perfect with the Most High. So his heart wasn't complete with the Most High. He was seeking things that were outside of the laws of the Most High God. And these things are what caused him to fall. He relinquished his strength to those women, to those heathen women. And then he started to follow after their gods because he didn't lead them properly. So we're being advised against these things. Now, we're going to go back to Proverbs 31 and I read verse 12.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 31, beginning at verse 12. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life.
God. Now, this is a requirement of the Proverbs 31 woman. She's supposed to do him good and not evil all the days of her life. Now, I want you to grab good in the Hebrew, and then afterwards we're going to get evil in the Hebrew because we want to see what these things consist of. Because sisters, y'all got to make sure you're lining up with doing good and not evil if you're striving to be a Proverbs 31 woman. And I hope all my sisters are there, that it ain't nobody that say, oh, no, I can't. I ain't trying to be no Proverbs 31 woman. That's too much. It's a process.
God. This is the word for good. H2896, Tov, and biblical usage. It's an adjective meaning good, pleasant, agreeable, to the senses, pleasant to the higher nature, good, excellent, of its kind, good, rich, valuable in estimation, good, appropriate, becoming, better, comparative, glad, happy, prosperous, of man's sensuous nature, good understanding of man's intellectual nature, good, kind, benign, good, right, ethical. Then the definition, it says good as an adjective in the widest sense, used likewise as a noun, both in the masculine and feminine, the singular and the plural, good, a good or good thing, a good man or woman, the good, goods or good things, good men or women, also as an adverb, well. And it says beautiful, best, better, bountiful, cheerful, at ease, etc. You want the rest of these
Nah,
as well?
nah, I think that's good enough because that's a lot. And when you look at this, it says good, pleasant, agreeable. Is this the nature of the Israelite woman in general? Not the Israelite woman proclaiming, to be in the truth, but the Israelite woman of the world. Nah, these things do not line up with our sisters on a huge scale. You got some that'll say, "Oh, I'm gonna give them hell, girl," and they take pride in being a man's headache. Scripture's telling us to be a Proverbs 31 woman. You're trying to refrain from doing that. That you want to be good, you want to be pleasant, you want to be agreeable. It says agreeable to the senses. I want you to kind of elaborate on agreeable to the senses. What do you view that as, being a brother, that has a wife and has dealt with women throughout your life? What's agreeable to the senses for you?
It's a good question, man. Agreeable to the senses. I could take that in a myriad of ways. But what comes to mind is is for one, um the spirit that the sister moves in, because it mentions in that stanza or that outline, it says pleasant or agreeable. So if they're just the type of person that's agreeable or combative, that'll be something that's able to be sensed.
Right.
And also same thing with being pleasant. Like if you're one of those people that's just like very rough around the edges, very hard to be around, that's something that's able and perceived easily and able to be sensed. And I think it walks in line with like a lot of the rest of the outlines as well, because it mentions nature and how people are. So that's what comes to mind, just reading that on the surface.
Pleasant and agreeable to the senses, y'all. Like if a man is in your presence, you're supposed to be pleasant to be around. He should be happy when he's around you because you're supposed to be his what? His peace. So if you're doing something contrary to that, it's not lining up with the Proverbs 31 woman. Now I grab evil because this is going to give us a bigger, clearer picture on how our sisters are supposed to move and how they're supposed to be when it comes to being a Proverbs 31 woman. And shalom, everybody. I didn't greet everybody individually like I usually do. Shalom, Sister Diamond, Sister Wendy, YP, Sister Andrea, Sister Latrice, Israel or Us, Sister Shat, and our big homie Yurt. Shalom, y'all. Wendy crazy. Say I can I see. And shalom, Sister Shantia.
God, this is the word for evil, H7451. It's Ra, and biblical usage, adjective, it says bad, evil, bad, disagreeable, malignant, bad, unpleasant, evil, giving pain, unhappiness, misery, evil, displeasing, bad, of its kind, land, water, etc. bad, of value, worse than, worse, comparison, sad, unhappy, evil, as in hurtful, bad, unkind, vicious in disposition, bad, evil, wicked, ethically, in general, of persons, of thoughts, deeds, actions, evil, distress, misery, injury, calamity, evil, distress, adversity, evil, injury, wrong, evil in an ethical sense. Then it says evil, misery, distress, injury, evil, misery, distress, evil, injury, wrong, then evil in an ethical sense. Then the
Con.
want the definition as well.
You can read a couple of them, not too many.
Kind of. The definition, it says bad or evil, naturally or morally, adversity, affliction, bad, calamity, displeasure, and then it pretty much echoes the same sentiments as the usage.
Con, the water for the reading. So when we looking at these outlines of biblical usage, bad or evil, bad, unpleasant, evil, giving pain, unhappiness, and misery. Sisters, make sure you're not making your household an unhappy place to dwell. A man will not be pleased to dwell in an unhappy dwelling. He would rather go out and what's the scripture? You know which one I'm talking about. I know you do.
Yeah,
On the rooftop.
with the lion or the dragon.
Con, and see if you can grab that. And Shalom's brother Just Yah and sister Zoila B. A man will do all he can to get away from that household if he's unhappy there, if he feels misery, evil, something displeasing to his spirit, something unpleasant, and just like it said, disagreeable. Can't come to an agreement on something, can't speak about things and have conflict resolution within the household in a civilized conversation. The thing about a man, we naturally just want to be problem solvers. We don't like to have conflict with most of us. A spiritual man, we just want to resolve the issue. Yeah, maybe worldly men, they don't care. They just, however they're going to treat the situation, especially if they don't truly love you, they may deal with you in a way where it's malignant and where, you're going to be adverse against him. But a truly spiritual man, he don't want to have that type of conflict within his household. But yeah, did you grab the scripture?
Con. It's the book of, let me put on the screen. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 25, verse 16. I had rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman.
Con, you can continue reading.
Con, continuing on. The wickedness of a woman changeth her face, and darkeneth her countenance like sackcloth.
One more verse.
Con. Her husband shall sit among his neighbors, and when he heareth it, shall sigh bitterly.
Con. Our countenance, y'all, it tells the story. It tells the complete story of your life. It tells the complete story of how you feel inside. It says the wickedness of a woman changeth her face and darkeneth her countenance like sackcloth. So can you envision your countenance being darkened? That's looking sad and angry. It says her husband shall sit among his neighbors, and when he heareth it, shall sigh bitterly. So this is an assumption that someone else had seen it. And they brought it to his attention like, hey, man, what's wrong with your woman, man? Why she look like that? And he's just like, because he going through hell. Verse 16 say, I had rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman. That's real talk. I'm pretty sure any brother can attest to that if he has dealt with being in a house where it's it's unpleasant, where he's always arguing, they always fussing and fighting. No man wants that. And Shalom, sister Michaela. And Ak, if you got anything to add, you can.
Just I'm gonna jump down a few verses. Verse 23. It says, matter of fact, I'll start at 22. It says, A woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impudence, and much reproach. And this is not talking about, oh, she's maintaining her husband like in a good sense, but more so if she's usurping authority and in a place where she shouldn't be at. She's the head, she's his Ottawa, she's his Lord, versus it being the other way around.
Right.
That's what that's going into, and that's out of order, right? Verse
Right.
23. A wicked woman abateth the courage, maketh an heavy countenance and a wounded heart. A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees. So essentially, like the gist of the text is saying that a woman that of this particular character that rules over her husband that is unpleasant, disagreeable, evil, if you will, that man, she's gonna make her man timid, for lack of better terms. He's gonna be timid. He's not gonna be, the ruler over the household that he should be. And it's kind of gonna be like the roles are opposite. Like he's gonna be the the soft one, all of those things. You know how women they talk about soft life and all of those things. He's gonna be living a soft life, but his life is hard. It's gonna be because he's not supposed to, live in that role.
All right.
So just wanted to bring that point out. But you
Uh,
got it, King.
you talking about the soft girl stage? How they go? I'm in my soft.
Yeah.
But so, like I just made a point on a woman that will not comfort her husband in distress, maketh weak hands and feeble knees. If a man is going through something, sisters, this is where you come in at, because your encouragement, your consolement while a man is going through something can actually make him persevere and make him stronger through whatever it is, and have that motivation and that drive, that will to want to succeed and make it past whatever is plaguing him. And the same thing for the brothers. We got to do that same thing for our sisters, for our wives, because you can make or break somebody when you have such a close attachment and you don't support. You don't support that person at their weakest stage. That's when they need you the most. But all praise to the Most High. Um, we can go back to Proverbs 31 and let's read verse.
Salakia.
Mm-hmm.
The sister Wendy made a good comment in the chat. Is it cool if I touch on it?
Khan, yes, sir. Oh, I see it.
Gone. So the comment, it says, sometimes the man relinquishes that power and forces the woman into that role. And that's absolutely correct. When you read, we could go all throughout the Torah. We could Tanakh, the Old Testament. We could read that in the book of Judges, in a plethora of places where the man, he didn't necessarily step up in the way that he should, and it forced certain women to be in places that they really shouldn't have been in. But give one example, right? The brother went into Genesis 3 earlier. Were you gonna go back to Genesis 3?
I don't believe so.
Con. So in the situation of Adam and Eve and the serpent, right? And me and Akhir was talking about this a while ago. But something that's missed when you read this is the fact that the scriptures don't tell you that Adam walked away and just left
That's a beautiful.
Eve. The scriptures don't say that Adam he walked. Brothers try to paint it like, oh well, it's like when you go to Sam's Club and y'all go to different parts of the store, and then your girl she's trying out the samples, and then you walk up and she's like, hey babe, try this sample. But the scriptures don't say all of that.
Right.
They don't introduce such a narrative, right? So we're gonna read this, and we're gonna read it slow with reading comprehension, and it'll be clear. So let me I'll start at 1, right? So it says, now the serpent was more crafty than any other beast of the field that the Lord God had made. He said to the woman, did God actually say, you shall not eat of any tree in the garden? And the woman said to the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees in the garden. But God said, you shall not eat of the fruit of the tree that is in the midst of the garden, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. So, one point here that people might get caught up on is, oh, it said the serpent is speaking to the woman, so that means Adam is not there. That actually, that's what you call that's a particular fallacy called an argument from silence. Um, just because someone is being addressed directly doesn't mean that a person is not there. And as we continue to read, we're going to see that Adam is right there. So continuing on, verse 4, it says, but the serpent said to the woman, matter of fact, I think I skipped 3. It says, but God said, you shall not eat of the fruit of the tree that is in the midst of the garden, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. But the serpent said to the woman, you will not surely die. For God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be open and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. Going back to them 2 words we was going into earlier, good and evil, right? But again, this is what we commonly see the fall. And so again, Eve is leading the charge. Adam is supposed to be stepping in and being like, nah, we not going into that. But he's allowing Eve to go on ahead and just inquire and just, be mesmerized. And he just sitting back and letting it be, right? Watch verse 6. So when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was a delight to the eyes, and that the tree was to be desired to make one wise, she took of its fruit and ate. Watch this. And she also gave to her husband who was with her, and he ate. So the scripture says that Adam was with her, and she gave him of the fruit to eat, and he ate. So, and when you go into the Hebrew, you gut this out. Everything that's in line is in the plural. Even the serpent addressing Eve, that's in the plural. He's saying things in the plural. All of those things line up. To speak to the fact that, hey, he's addressing multiple people, but the main speaker is the woman and the serpent. So again, this is showing that Adam, he sat back and was just like, hey, I'm gonna just let Bay handle it. She got it. She the boss. you know how Jake be. Am I going in and out?
I didn't know. Oh, she said on Clubhouse.
Oh, okay, con. But I mean, you know how Jake be though, man. Like they sit back, just let they rib handle business that they should not be handling. You need to step in and put a stop to this. But Adam, we see right here, he didn't. But he took of the fruit from his rib, from his wife, and he ate it, knowing that God said, don't do that. He wasn't ignorant, but again, to speak to that beautiful comment, Adam right there, he relinquished the power, that he was supposed to walk after, and he actually supposedly had, and he let the woman have it, and look what happened after that. But just wanted to bring that point out. But you got it, King.
Beautiful point. And something that's key to note is, when I've done a breakdown on this before. A lot of y'all probably already familiar. This fruit is doctrine. This ain't somebody going to a tree and picking something. This is him, Adam, sitting amongst Eve, and she's entertaining a doctrine that's different from what they know. The Most High God gave them commandments to follow. They went outside of that. She went outside of that, and she introduced that to him. And he just said, "Okay, babe. Okay, we're gonna do that. I trust your judgment." And that's relinquishing his power. And she was basically being forced into that role where she She just took that role, and he just said, "Okay, I'm fine with your decision." And we got to make sure that ain't what's happening. So let's go to Proverbs 31:13 through 15.
Con. Con. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 31 and verse 15. She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a
13,
portion to her maidens.
13 through 15. It's a lot.
Oh, you said 13 through 15?
Yes, sir.
Con. It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 31, verse 13. She seeketh wool and flax, and worketh willingly with her hands. She is like the merchant's ships. She bringeth her food from afar. She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens.
Con. So it says she's seeking wool and flax and working willingly with her hands. So this is the provision for her to make clothing, to make fringes, to put fringes on clothing. It says she is like the merchant ships. She bringeth her food from afar. Now it's talking about the food. So in order for the needs of a household to be met, this woman, this sister has to be calculated. She has to plan ahead. She has to make sure that certain things that the household needs, she's monitoring and she's able to be ahead of it instead of it creeping up on her. And now the household is without. So it says she's like merchant ships. She bringeth her food from afar. Now I'm going to give you an illustration. If you think about, a lot of us probably have worked in retail or grocery stores and things of that nature. Like when inventory starts to get low, the manager is responsible for making inventory, right? He gets the paper, he documents what he has, what he don't have. Why? Because he has to put an order in for an import to come into the store. He has to have this information so that they know he have to supply this store with more merchandise. If the manager fails at his job, guess what happens? The food ain't on the shelves, or whatever that is, that item is not on the shelf. That's the same way with a woman of the house. She's supposed to make sure, like, oh, hey, we need to make sure we got this. And if she got to, relay that information to her husband, hey, baby, we need this. That's her duty. That's her job, because she's supposed to maintain the household. It says she rises also while it is yet night, and give meat to her household and a portion to her maidens. Now it's saying while it is yet night. This don't mean like 11 o'clock at night she's getting up. It can, but this is talking about early in the morning, very early in the morning, where it may be still dark outside, that she has to get up just to make sure that the household is going to be set. Everything's going to be straight. The kids are going to be good. The husband's going to be good before he goes to work. The kids going to be straight before they go to school. So this provision has to be made in advance. She has to prepare for this, because this ain't easy. It's not, a lot of us probably can say, yeah, it's hard. I ain't a morning person. I don't like getting up early. But this is something that would have to be done. Or just like it says, in the night, while it is yet night, she may do it late night, make sure things are set for the household for the next morning. But these are provisions that have to be made in order to maintain the household. Now, I want you to grab Mark 1, 35 through 39.
Con. Powerful scripture. It's a book of Mark, chapter 1, starting at verse 35. And in the morning, rising up a great while before day, he went out and departed into a solitary place, and there prayed. And Simon and they that were with him followed after him. And when they had found him, they said unto him, all men seek for thee.
Through 39.
God, continuing on. And he said unto them, let us go into the next towns, that I may preach there also, for there came I forth. And he preached in their synagogues throughout all Galilee, and cast out devils.
So it says, in the morning, rising up a great while before day, he went out and departed into a solitary place and there prayed. And this is talking about the Messiah. It's talking about Yahushua, who most of the world knows as Jesus Christ. It says, and Simon and they that were with him followed after him. And when they had found him, they said unto him, all men seek for thee. So they had to go and find him. They didn't know where he was, but he was getting prepared for his day. It says, and he said unto them, let us go into the next towns that I may preach there also, for therefore I came forth. So he was preparing to go and preach. He knew he had a task ahead of him. So he said, hey, let me go pray and meditate because I got a heavy task on me. So the advice is pray, meditate. Nobody said it's going to be easy, sisters. Nobody said it's going to be easy, brothers, to prepare for your task that you have. Pray and meditate. That's the answer, because your preparation is key. And the Most High is going to guide you. And he's going to help give you that extra strength you need to get through and to be able to complete your task. If you got something to add, you can before I get this next scripture.
Con, and excellent point. And I would land back, and I would also mention staying focused, right? Because when you read this text, I love this text in the ESV. I'll just read 36 to 37. Matter of fact, I'll read down to 38. It says, and Simon and those who were with him searched for him, and they found him and said to him, everyone is looking for you. And he said to them, let us go on to the next towns, that I may preach there also, for that is why I came out. So we see Yahushua, this is just a sidebar. He was focused on what he had came out to do. He stayed focused on the mission and the task at hand. We see him pray. And also that's dealing with his focus as well, because he went out into a solitary place. He prayed. He's preparing himself, all of those things. And then he didn't, get caught up in, how a lot of people, they would get up in the fame and, oh, these people are looking for you and everyone's trying to blah, blah, blah. Because when you read earlier, I think early on in the chapter, it speaks about how his fame went out throughout the regions of Galilee. So he didn't say, oh, well, they're looking for me. Yeah, he wasn't on that. He was on the task at hand. So I just wanted to bring that point out. But you got it, King.
He kept the main thing the main thing. We got to make sure we keep the main thing the main thing. It's so easy to get sidetracked with just different things in the world and not really understand, okay, well, what's the main goal? The main goal is getting to the kingdom. The main goal is preaching to our people about the kingdom, bringing people to this marriage so that we can get up out of here. Of course, there are other things that are attached to your life that you have to take care of, but the main thing is the main thing. Let's get Psalm 5, 1 through 3.
God. It's the book of Psalm, chapter 5, starting at verse 1. Give ear to my words, O Yahweh. Consider my mediation. Hearken unto the voice of my cry, my King and my God. For unto thee will I pray. My voice shalt thou hear in the morning, O Yahweh. In the morning will I direct my prayer unto thee and will look up.
This is how we need to start our day, y'all. And I'm saying this, I need to improve. Some days, some mornings I get up, that ain't the first thing I do. And I have to remember to pray to the Most High, because guess what? You're setting the tone for your day. You're allowing the Most High to help you throughout your day by going to him in prayer, asking for the strength to persevere through that day, because you're going to run into some stuff you don't even know you're going to run into yet. But if you prepare yourself mentally and spiritually, emotionally, before your day actually starts, you're going to deal with these things better. Let's go back to Proverbs 31 and let's get 16 through 20.
God. It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 31, verse 16. She considereth a field and buyeth it. With the fruit of her hands she planteth a vineyard. She girdeth her loins with strength, and strengtheneth her arms. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. She stretcheth out her hand to the poor. Yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy.
All praises. So verse 16 and 17, it says, she considereth a field and buyeth. With the fruit of her hands, she planteth a vineyard. So it's showing that she's planning ahead. These are some of the adverbs. Well, no, adjectives, like it. Adjectives that she would possess. She would be someone that plans ahead. She's prepared. It says, she girdeth her loins with strength and strengtheneth her arms. So just like I was speaking about praying for this strength, because you're going to need that strength. You can't do this by yourself. To be a Proverbs 31 woman, you can't do it by yourself. The Most High going to have to aid you in being that. Your patience going to get short sometime. You're going to get weak and feel like you can't do it. You're going to get impatient. It's going to be a lot of adversity that comes your way. And the same thing with us men of the Most High. This ain't easy, man. You're going to run into tribulation. You're going to run into temptation. You're going to want to be all out of character. You're going to want to break these laws. Human nature is going to incline you to do something against the will of the Most High. It ain't easy. You got to pray for this strength to endure, because it gets harder, and it gets harder as you continue in this walk, because Satan knows that you're trying to live for the Most High. So he's going to study you. He's going to see the things that you may be weak at. He's going to see how he can attack you from the outside inside by studying your weaknesses. So we got to make sure that we are preparing ourselves, and we asking the Most High to strengthen us so we don't fall victim. So looking at verse 19, it says, she left her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. Now, the spindle would be like how you put yarn. You have yarn, and you use this spindle to spool off the yarn to make garments. So it's speaking about her making these garments, her making clothing, making sure her household is, prepared, and that they have the things necessary. But also, verse 20 says, she stretcheth out her hand to the poor. Yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy. So this is the important thing for the sisters. Let's say your husband or one of your brothers, your akim, they ministering to a sister or brother, and this sister starts to come into the truth. They don't have no fringes, no tassels. They know that they're supposed to do it, and they have the willingness to want to do it. I've seen Andrea do it. I've seen Wendy do it. They say, hey, sis, hey, bro, I got you some tassels, and just give it to them, because at this point in time, they would be the poor and needy, because these are things that they need. And it may not be that they can't afford it, but it's like, why not, take a step with a brother or a sister to show them like, hey, I love you, and I want you to keep these commandments. So guess what? I'll make you some tassels. I'll give them to you. You ain't got to give me nothing. This is supposed to be all of our ministry. We all should be able to give of ourselves to our people in order for them to feel that they're supported in this truth. Because a lot of people miss that, and they will think that, that's not something that exists in the Israelite culture based off of what they see with other Israelites. And Ox said, Khan, I catch myself slipping too. Definitely got to stay on point, because the enemy be looking for any small moment of vulnerability. Khan, he studies us. He know what, something you may stumble at. So it's like, if I sense that you stumble at it, or if you do fail, you fall victim to temptation one time, guess what? Boom, Satan knows, like, oh, that's he fall victim too. I'm gonna use it again. I'll catch him again. It may not be the next time, but 2 times later, I'll get him. So you got to stay prayed up. You got to have that strength to endure. And I like what Sister Wendy said also. She said, Israel as a whole would be considered a Proverbs 31 woman. Oh, you were asking, can Israel as a whole be considered a Proverbs 31 woman if we were doing as we should and keep the commandments? Because we know that the Most High has two wives, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, Judah and Israel. So definitely we would be considered as a Proverbs 31 woman if we were doing the things we were supposed to do as a nation of people. So all praise to the Most High. I'll grab 2 Peter chapter 1, verses 10 through 11.
Come. It's the book of 2 Peter chapter 1, starting at verse 10. Wherefore the rather, brethren, give diligence to make your calling and election sure. For if ye do these things, ye shall never fail. So like it never fall. For so an entrance shall be ministered unto you abundantly into the everlasting kingdom of our Lord and Savior, Yahushua the Anointed.
So we got to make sure our calling and our election is sure. And when we were reading in Proverbs 31, verse 18, it says, she perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. So she's preparing. She's making sure that her calling and election is sure. You got to make sure that your household is strapped for whatever may come. Like you can look at this in the sense of like, okay, let's say they say there's a storm coming, a hurricane, tornado. You got tornado watch, you got bad weather, you got a blizzard coming. As the leader of that household, as far as taking care of the responsibilities of the household, you got to make the provisions to make sure that your household will be straight. And sometimes the man is actually going to help you do those certain things too. But as the woman of the household, there are responsibilities. You got to make sure your calling and election is sure. Ak, you want to add anything?
Nothing to add, King.
Khan. All right, give me Proverbs 19:17. Because we were speaking about helping, those that are in need. This is a very important part of our walk, brothers and sisters alike.
This is the book of Proverbs chapter 19, verse 17. He that hath pity upon the poor lendeth unto Yahweh, and that which he hath given will he pay him again.
The Most High is the person that we're doing any and everything for. It says that if we have pity on the poor, guess what we doing? It's like we lending to the Most High God, and he gonna pay us back everything we give to him. It's a sacrifice. Your service to your brothers and sisters is your sacrifice, and the Most High rewards your sacrifice when it's a sacrifice done in the right way. Give me 1 John 3, 17 and 18.
It's the book of 1 John chapter 3, starting at verse 17. But whoso hath this world's good, and seeth his brother have need, and shutteth up his bowels of compassion from him, how dwelleth the love of God in him? My little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth.
Now we're talking about those that have need, the poor, the needy. But this also applies to our households when we're dealing with our mate, whether you're a brother or a sister. It says, my little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth. You can tell somebody all day you love them, but are you doing those things that are necessary to show love, to comfort, to console, to make provision for? Verse 16 says, hereby we, the love of God, Salak, verse 17, but whoso have this world's good and see if his brother have need, and shut up his bowels of compassion from him, how dwelleth the love of God in him? It's just no way that you can have the love of God and see your brother or sister just struggle and just sit back and just watch him. There is no love for that brother and sister. There's no love for the Most High God. Proverbs 29 and 7.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 7. The righteous considereth the cause of the poor, but the wicked regardeth not to know it.
So the righteous are gonna be like, looking toward our people and saying, like, how can I serve my people? What can I do to make a change in my community? Where do I see a need for my services? It says that the wicked don't even care nothing about it. He ain't thinking about it. She ain't thinking about it. It's like, oh, whatever's happening, so be it. It ain't gonna concern me in my life. And you can bring that precept out also.
Just to echo the same point, Psalm 41:1. Blessed is he that considereth the poor. Yahweh will deliver him in time of trouble. So just land back in, the righteous is going to consider the cause of the poor, but the wicked regardeth not to know it. So that goes for judgment, of course. That goes for, just simply helping a brother that's, waxing poor, just down and out. That goes for a myriad of circumstances. The righteous person is going to consider that poor person, but the wicked, they just, like, I don't know if y'all ever seen the meme, but they used to have like the Kermit the Frog, and he just used to be looking straight, like he'd be in the car just looking straight, like, oh, I'm sipping my tea, minding my business, like that. That's that's what the wicked is doing. But the righteous, they're concerned about their people, especially in a poor waxing state, or a waxing and poor state. So, just wanted to add that in there.
Out the water. So let's go back to Proverbs 31, and let's get verses 21 through 23.
Go on. This is a book of Proverbs, chapter 31, starting verse 21. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple. Her husband is known in the gates, when he sitteth among the elders of the land.
So we see in verse 21 and 22 more of the same of what we saw earlier in Proverbs 31, that she's making sure, that she's providing, like making provision for the household. So to have those necessary things. So we understand that she's the rock of the house. If the woman just says, you know what, I don't care. Whatever go on in this house, go on. The house is going to fall apart. Because the man needs to help me in order to do the work of the Lord, in order to continue to provide, and in order to protect properly. Things have to be set in place. But an important thing we see is in verse 23, and I'm going to read it again. It says, her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land. Now, y'all, we're going over this lesson. We're going over Proverbs 31 because we're trying to identify what are the qualities, or what are these different things that this sister would need to be established as a Proverbs 31 woman. This is one of the most important things, is verse 23. Now, when we read her husband is known in the gates, this ain't just saying, oh, he just because he from such and such, he from the north side, and oh, everybody know John from the north side. That ain't what it's talking about, y'all. It's saying he's known in the gates because this brother would be someone that's known to keep the laws of the Most High. This would be a brother that's known to be a righteous brother, an upstanding brother, someone with a good reputation. So when we look at verse 23, it says, when he sitteth among the elders of the land. So these are righteous elders that he would be known amongst. So sisters, it's telling you, if this brother, he say, oh man, yeah, no, I don't congregate with nobody. Yeah, I'm an Israelite though. But he don't know no elders. He don't have any brother of prominence that's known for keeping the laws of the Most High God. That's a red flag, sister. Because you can't be sure that this is a brother that's, that has a good reputation, or someone that you can find information on that can attest and vouch and say, yeah, I know, bro. He a stand-up dude. that's a red flag. Now, give me Luke 3:23 through 25. I just want to show everybody something real quick.
20 through 25.
23 through 25.
It's the book of Luke, chapter 3, starting at verse 23. And Yahushua himself began to be about 30 years of age, being as was supposed the son of Joseph, which was the son of Eli, which was the son of Matthat, which was the son of Levi, which was the son of Melchi, which was the son of Jonah, which was the son of Joseph, which was the son of Mattathias, which was the son of Amos, which was the son of Nahum, which was the son of Esli, which was the son of Nagi.
So this was always a part of our culture that you knew who someone was the son of, was a grandson of, because these were men of prominence that were known to keep the laws of the Most High. So you would know who their offspring was. You could always link it back. And now we're living in a time where we're supposed to be getting back to the ancient ways of doing things. Where I have a son. My son ain't gonna just marry no any sister. And I don't expect someone who has a daughter, when my son approaches them, to just say, oh yeah, he said he an Israelite, we going off that. No, they need to be able to say, oh, that's the son of her, Bezalel. That's the son of Aaron. You know what I'm saying? Because the men that have a reputation should be able, their reputation should precede them, where someone can understand who they are, and then they know who their offspring is, and it speaks 1,000 words for them, speaks 1,000,000 words for them. This was always the case. So this is supposed to be the case for a sister that's a Proverbs 31 woman, that she ain't just gonna fall for no any brother. This brother should be known in the gates. His father should be known in the gates. There should be some info or some reputation about him. Give me Sirach 37, 12 through 16.
Gone.
Con, Sister Wendy, right. And this is what our daughters of Zion are attracted to. The brother who's known for doing bad. I know from firsthand experience, because I used to be that type of person. And that was part of the motivation, to be the bad guy, because you knew women like the bad guy. They ain't like the good guy.
What was that? You said Sirach 37 and what verse?
Verses 12 through 16.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 37, starting at verse 12. But be continually with a godly man, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord, whose mind is according to thy mind, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry. And let the counsel of thine own heart stand, for there is no man more faithful unto thee than it. For a man's mind is sometime wont to tell him more than 7 watchmen that sit above in a high tower. And above all this, pray to the Most High, that he will direct thy way in truth. Let reason go before every enterprise, and counsel before every action.
These are some heavy verses. It says, but be continually with a godly man, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Most High, whose mind is according to thy mind, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry. It says you got to know that this man is keeping the laws, not assume, not go off of his word, because he said, yeah, man, I've been in the truth for 10 years. I've been in the truth for 5 years. And I know on a lot of these brothers that sisters, brothers try to court them, and that's one of the first things they say. And then when I'm vetting to see if brothers is measuring up to the standards, it's something off always. It's always something unclean in the water. When they say that, it's like you can say one thing, but what is your fruit showing? So sisters, make sure you see the fruit. Don't just go off what they tell you. It says, whose mind is according to thy mind. You got to be equally yoked, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry. So if someone isn't sorrowing with you when you miscarry, and I like the way it's worded because you can think of it as like if someone miscarries with a child, they lose a child. That's sorrowful, right? If you had a child in your stomach and you just end up having a miscarriage. Someone that sorrows with you is someone that's going to be with you through it all, regardless, good and bad. Whatever you're going through, they're encouraging you. They right there by your side when you're going through what you're going through. And you can't be sure that someone's going to do that unless they're keeping the laws of the Most High. That's the only way you're going to be sure of that. It says, and let the counsel of thine own heart stand, for there is no man more faithful unto thee than it. Now, this is dealing on a spiritual aspect and a spiritual level, because the counsel of your own heart is just your intuition. You can sense when you know somebody ain't gonna be there for you, or when you feel like, man, I don't think this person seems like they up to no good. They don't have good intentions toward me. You got to listen to that, because the Most High is giving you discernment to understand that and your spirit to understand that, and you can't ignore that. It says, for a man's mind is sometime wont to tell him more than 7 watchmen that sit above in a high tower. So before you go to counsel, you may already have the answer. That's not saying don't go to counsel, but you may already have the answers to the questions that you're seeking, or to the information or evidence that you're seeking. It says, and above all, this pray to the Most High, that he will direct thy way in truth. That's that safeguarding. When you're praying to the Most High to guide your path, give you discernment, help you make the right decisions. Let reason go before every enterprise, and counsel before every action. Always seek counsel. Always seek counsel. Don't ever just follow just the first thing that comes to your brain and say, yeah, I'm going to make that decision to do this. I think that's going to be a good decision. Nah, follow counsel. Get counsel. And even if a man is adamant about marrying you, get counsel. Make sure things are in place as they should be, and that you're not doing something that you're going to regret in the end. Ak, if you want to add something, you can.
Just the point earlier, Romans chapter 12, verse 15, it says, rejoice with them that do rejoice, and weep with them that weep. And an example that we somewhat see, I won't say it's a perfect example, but we sort of see this in the book of Job, when his friends first pulled up on him, and they just sat with him in silence, I believe, for 7 days. I believe that's in the book of Job, the 2nd or the 3rd chapter. And it says that they sat and they spoke not a word for 7 days. And so right there, they were, sitting in mourning with him, being, a friend, a companion to the brother. And so that's how we have to be, not just, with our brothers, but with our sisters as well. If you're, you're entertaining a sister, or sister is entertaining a brother, and they're, quote unquote courting, and, you start to peep that, hey, dang, man, everything just went wrong, X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. Look to see how they react to those types of things. Do they,
Right.
They're like, oh, well, man, sucks to be you, man. That's tough, man. Well, anyways, I mean, like if they just kind of brushing it off, then, how people say the red flag, that's not really a good sign. But if they do display that empathy, sympathy, and that compassion towards you, and they're like, dang, man, that's crazy. And it's like they're feeling it alongside with you, then this is, what the scriptures speak about, and what they advise for us to do, and how we ought to treat each other in these particular states, whether it be for good or whether it be for bad. But you got it, King.
Khan, beautiful sentiments. Give me Proverbs 3, 5, and 6.
Khan. It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, starting at verse 5. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths.
Khan. So if A Proverbs 31 woman is doing this. She's trusting in the Lord with all her heart and not leaning on her own understanding. Everything is going to go the way it's supposed to go. And these different qualities that she's supposed to possess, guess what? The Most High is going to add those things to her. He's going to strengthen her. He's going to beautify her. He's going to magnify her. He's going to help her to get to where she wants to be, because she yearns to be that way, because she wants to please the Most High. And she also wants to please her husband. And she just wants to do the things that she's supposed to do. So, I think this lesson so far, it's covering all these different qualities. And sisters, if there's something you see that you don't possess at this point, it's like, make a note of it. Ask the Most High to help you to get to where you need to be to become this Proverbs 31 woman. Let's read verses 24 through 31 in Proverbs 31.
Come on. 24 through 31.
Yes, sir.
Come on, this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 31, starting at verse 24. She maketh fine linen and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. Her children arise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praiseth her. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Excellest them all, Salakia. Verse 30. Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord shall be praised. Verse 31. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates.
Verse 28 says, her children arise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praiseth her. It's a beautiful thing when you do have a helpmeet that make sure that you have things that are necessary to help sustain the household. Like to not have that need to do certain things is like, oh shoot, I gotta do, and she's like, nah, baby, I already did it. That's a beautiful thing. And that woman, that Proverbs 31 woman, that wife, she deserves to be praised by her children and by her husband. So looking at verse 25 and 26, it says, strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. So strength and honor, these are her clothing. So this is something she's supposed to put on every day. She's going to need to be strong every single day. So she's going to have to constantly ask the Most High to strengthen her, to help her deal with the things she needs to have to add things to her children and her husband that she needs to. And this this honor is a word that basically it encompasses having loyalty and just commitment. But also looking at verse 26, it says she opens her mouth with wisdom. To open your mouth with wisdom means you got to think before you speak. It says, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. There's certain ways you can talk. Soft answer turns away wrath. Certain ways you can talk that can be conducive, that can complement and can help the situation. Certain ways you may speak may make the situation not a good situation. It may inflame the household and cause arguments. So in her tongue is the law of kindness. We got to make sure even the brothers that we're doing that we speak to our sisters, our wives, our children with the law of kindness and opening our mouth with wisdom. Give me 2 Corinthians 9, 6 and 7.
Gone. This is the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 9, starting at verse 6. But this I say, He which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully. Every man according as he purposeth in his heart, so let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity, for God loveth a cheerful giver.
Con. And this is even with love, y'all. The way that we love each other, our brothers and sisters, that's the same type of love you're going to get back. You can't expect to be loved away when you're not loving that way. So we reap what we sow. It says that, but this I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully. Every man according as he has purpose in his heart. So let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity, for God loveth a cheerful giver. So we can't grudgingly do something for each other. Like there's a problem or attitude about when you got to do something for somebody. You might as well don't do it. That's just like the sacrifice you give to the Most High. If that sacrifice is given with a hard heart or not willing to really want to do it, and it's like, oh Lord, I gotta do this. Most High don't want that. And a brother or a sister that you attached with in a relationship, they shouldn't want it either, and they don't. Nobody wants that. So we got to make sure we're doing everything with kindness and without having grudges. I'll give me Philippians 2:14-15. You on mute,
Shalakia, yeah, I was definitely reading. I was almost at the end of 15.
God.
This is the book of Philippians chapter 2, starting at verse 14. Do all things without murmurings and disputings, that ye may be blameless and harmless, the sons of God without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom ye shine as lights in the world.
Con. Let your light shine, sister. Proverbs 31 women's light should be shining everywhere they go. It says, do all things without murmurings and disputings, that ye may be blameless and harmless, the sons of God without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation. We're in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, y'all. Brothers and sisters. We're in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation. So our duty is to show something that's different. Not look just like them, not act just like them. So when someone sees us, they like, something different about him, something different about her. This is our responsibility. And if we're not doing this, then we're forsaking our responsibility. And we're going against the will of the Most High. I got one more scripture, Galatians 5:22-26.
God. This is the book of Galatians chapter 5, starting at verse 22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. And they that are Christ have crucified the flesh with the affections and lusts. If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Let us not be desirous of vainglory, provoking one another, envying one another.
Con. So it says the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. And they that are Christ have crucified the flesh with the affection and lust. So the flesh naturally don't want to love. It don't want to have joy, peace. It don't want to long suffer. It don't want to be gentle. It don't want to have goodness and faith. It has no self-control. That's the flesh. So these things go contrary to the way the Most High want us to live. But if we're living in the Spirit, like it says in verse 25, it says, we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Let us not be desirous of vainglory, provoking one another or envying one another. We got to make sure we don't provoke each other. If there's something you do that you know agitates your partner, irritates your partner, why do it? Makes no sense, because what you're doing is you're provoking them to wrath against you. And now your home's in disarray. So, brothers and sisters alike, we got to treat each other with respect. We got to treat each other how we want to be treated. And sisters, if you seen, I'm going to say it again, something in this chapter in Proverbs 31, and you heard something in this lesson that you may be like, I need to work on that. And pray to the Most High. He's going to eventually help you get to where you need to get to be this Proverbs 31 woman. But all praise to the Most High. All praise to Yahweh when we do so by Shem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. Aki, you want to add something, you can. You on mute.
Oh my goodness, man. kind of. Yeah, but I was just saying, excellent lesson through the Spirit and power of the Most High. All praises to the Most High for it. Shout out to the good brother Bezalel, brother Hurt. Beautiful and timely lesson. These are the lessons that are very important to make sure to get disseminated and pushed out, especially to our sisters, because these are like what you would call character building, and they help harp on the morality that a lot of times is missed within I guess our realm or our community per se, because certain things like reigning over the heathen, certain things like what's some other things? Oh, you gotta have a beard or something like that.
Right.
Just we know the bread and butter things, right? Like all of the bread and butter topics. Um, those things are important. They are good to go into, but these character building classes are just as, if not more important, because this deals with our everyday morality and what brothers and sisters deal with inside of the households and how they conduct themselves with their spouses and with their children and with their other brothers and sisters outside of the household. This is something to apply to your daily life. So very, very important lesson. All praises to the Most High for it. And guys, make sure y'all like the video. Make sure y'all share and subscribe if you haven't already. But yeah, I don't have nothing else to add, King.
Khan, all praises out. And I think it's a good thing. Some people feel kind of bad, like if they see something they need to improve on. It's nothing bad about that. That's good that you're able to say, yeah, I need to do better with that, because that means growth is there. That means that awareness, self-awareness is there, if you can say that to yourself, because we got to continue daily to try to improve, continue to examine ourselves, continue to be better than we were yesterday, better than we were last year, last month, or whatever it may be. Because some people get comfortable and they think they're done, the work is done. And once you start doing that, you start to go backwards. But all praise to the Most High, and the water for the input also, and for the reading. And all praise to the Most High, the water, for everybody that tuned in, for everybody that commented, those that watch on the replay, also the water for tuning in. And go ahead, and if you haven't, give us a like and share on the video, like I already said. But all praise to the Most High. And if y'all got anything you want to say in the comments or questions, you could bring it forward before we close it out. And you can just give them about 10 more seconds just to make sure nobody got any questions. and then you can get this closed out.
All praise to the Most High. Yeah, I don't see any other comments, so that'll be everything. Peace and blessings, family, and we'll close it out with Numbers 6 and 24 on down. It says, Yahweh bless thee and keep thee. Yahweh make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. Yahweh lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. And with that, I'll say shalom.
Shalom, Mark. Shalom, family.
It ain't for everybody. 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 Yeah, many you call, but few get chosen. Matthew 22 and 14. My righteousness gonna exceed that of the Pharisees. Do what they I don't care what the world thinks, don't do nothing they doing. Christ said they was gon' hate as soon as you became a new man. I just wanna keep his laws. 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 I don't care what the world thinks, don't do nothing they doing. Christ said they was gon' hate as soon as you became a new man. I just wanna keep his laws. I just wanna keep his laws. I just wanna keep his laws. I just wanna keep it laws. I just wanna keep it laws. Obedience, the love of God. 1 John 5:3. The scripture